Sådan.
Good morning.
Good morning. Ready for some cenote diving?
Yeah.
Excellent.
In this episode, recorded just a couple of weeks ago when I was in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, I go scuba diving. This area is a paradise for scuba diving. Not only you have a part of the second biggest barrier reef right out in the ocean, but the area is also a world-renowned destination for cave and cavern diving. Divers can explore intricate underwater cave and cavern systems that connect cenotes and offer a unique diving experience. With only basic open water certification, cenote cavern diving is possible. So that's what I'm doing today with the Danish scuba instructor Kasper Olesen.
So let me just start asking you, are you a vegan, vegetarian or a meat eater?
I am totally a flexitarian.
Excellent. Then I think we should go to Puerto Venturas. That will be our first stop. To order some local torta carnitas. It's marinated pork sandwiches.
Okay, cool.
Very tender, very juicy, and very delicious.
Now I'm kind of glad I didn't have breakfast.
Oh yeah.
My name is Palabo, and this is the Radio Vagabond, cenote diving with Bats and Barbie in Mexico.
The ultimate destination for armchair travelers who are looking for inspiration to get out into the real world and let loose their wanderlust. This is the Radio Vagabond.
This episode is brought to you in part by this website called hotels25.com. If you're a regular listener, you have heard me mention this before, and I can't say this enough. This is a cool website. It helps you find the cheapest hotel rooms around the world. Hotels25.com. You should try it out. It actually works. Kasper, the friendly diver, picks me up in his big Toyota pickup truck at 9 a.m. Saturday morning in front of my co-living space in Playa del Carmen. He's an experienced diver with more than 3,000 logged dives, where around 1,700 of those has been guiding in caverns and caves in this area of Riviera Maya over the last 7 years.
So Kasper, you are taking me scuba diving today and cenote diving.
Yes.
Can you explain what a cenote is for people who never heard that term before?
I can indeed. A cenote is a sinkhole. So cenote is just a Spanish word for a sinkhole.
A sinkhole?
Yeah. Due to erosion.
Right.
So basically, 2 million years ago, the water level was 120 meters, 400 feet higher than it is today. Which means the entire Yucatan Peninsula was submerged by the ocean.
Yeah.
Approximately 2 million years ago, no one knows exactly, but approximately 2 million years ago, the sea level sunk to wherever it is today.
With global warming, we're going to get back to that.
We don't really know, right? We don't really know.
About 120 meters.
But this huge place, I mean, it's not just this place. It's also the southwest part of Cuba, huge parts of Florida, and the entire Belize and a little bit of Guatemala.
Wow.
Was submerged by the ocean. Then at some point the sea level sunk, and all this was just left. And, I mean, the corals obviously died. Everything here is limestone.
Yeah.
Which means it's very porous. Which means that all the rainwater that has fallen since then, and still slowly penetrates the limestone, create erosion, removes mass underground. More and more mass is removed. At some point you have like a huge open gap underground. More water comes through, creates stalactites from the ceiling, and stalagmites from the bottom, like water that splashes down upon rock formations and shape them over like thousands of years. It's a very slow process. So like half of an inch is like 100 years. And at some point, maybe the ceiling gets very, very thin and it collapses. And there you have an opening. A cenote.
Interesting.
Imagine this area like a Swiss cheese. There's tunnels everywhere. We have the largest submerged cave system in the world, which is called Sakakhtun, and that's the one you and I will be diving in today.
Okay, cool.
Kasper was born and raised in the city of Aalborg in Denmark. From an early age, he was in or around water for all his life. When he was just 5 years old, he became a member of the local swimming club and learned how to swim. After a few years of swimming, just for fun, he took it up a notch and started swimming as a competitive sport. He spent most of his spare time after school for his training. With his dedication, he managed to become a member of the Danish national team for 2 years at age 14. Following his graduation from school, he started a career as an automobile mechanic at Mercedes-Benz in 2002. After his apprenticeship in 2006, he was accepted as an employee and continued to work for the company. During this time, Kasper always went snorkeling on his vacation travels to enjoy the marine life and whatever else there was to discover beneath the surface close to shore. While being on a vacation in Koh Tao in Thailand in 2010, he finally got certified as an open water diver. From this point on, he was hooked. His passion for diving was overwhelming, so he took many other courses, advanced other specialty courses, and finally moved to Koh Tao for 9 months in 2013. There he started his rescue course and did his Divemaster training, then a technical side mount course, followed by 3 different technical certifications. And in 2015, he quit his job in Denmark, sold his car and put his flat on the market to move to Honduras to become a scuba diving instructor. Here he continued his training and earned his certification as a master scuba diver trainer. One evening he got the idea of enrolling in a full cave course and found out that this area in Mexico, with so many caves and caverns, would be the best place to do it.
So when you're saying caves, are we going totally underwater where there's not a surface on the water? There's just a...
That's cave diving. What you and I will be doing is cavern diving.
Right.
The difference between cavern diving and cave diving is the distance towards open water. We dive in the daylight zone, which means that at no point will we be further away than 60 meters or 200 feet from any exit. There will always be some kind of natural light. But you will feel like you're in a cave.
No.
So we're passing tunnels and we will pop up in open water and then we will go back underground. But at no point will be that far away from open water.
Okay.
The maximum depth of the dive today is 10 meters, like 30 feet. Average depth be like 5 or 6 meters, 18 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a shallow dive, but it's extremely beautiful. And the visibility is 100 meters plus. It's completely fresh water.
Yeah, and very, very clear. But we're going to get back to that.
Kasper left Utila Bay Islands in Honduras in March 2016 with the intention of just staying in Mexico for a short vacation, take the Cavern course and then return to Honduras. But halfway through the course, he realized that he had fallen hopelessly in love with the magical Mayan cenotes and just had to stay. As we're making our way down from Playa del Carmen to Dos Ojos Cenote and get stuck in traffic, let's have some facts about the cenotes in the Yucatan Peninsula.
And now, facts about where we are.
Cenotes in the Yucatan Peninsula here in Mexico are natural sinkholes or underground caverns filled with fresh water. They're not only fascinating geological formations, but also hold cultural and historical significance. It's estimated that there are over 6,000 cenotes in the Yucatan Peninsula, making it the most cenote-rich area in the world. Cenotes were formed millions of years ago as a result of the collapse of the limestone cave systems. They're interconnected by a vast network of underground rivers. Some are completely underground, while others are partially open air. Cenotes were considered sacred by the ancient Maya civilization. They believed that the cenotes were entrances to the underworld and used them for both religious ceremonies and a source of fresh water. The water in the cenotes is incredibly clear and transparent due to the natural filtration provided by the porous limestone. This makes cenotes popular for swimming, snorkeling, and scuba diving. If you're doing an ocean dive and get around 30 meters of visibility, that's considered exceptionally good. Here in the cenotes, The visibility is more than 3 times that, around 100 meters, 330 feet. Some cenotes have beautiful stalactites formation created over thousands of years as mineral-rich water drips into the cenotes and slowly deposits minerals. Whatever drips and lands on the bottom of the cave creates what is called stalagmites. So stalactites hang from the ceiling and grow downwards, while stalagmites rise from the cave floor and grow upwards. And sometimes the two meet each other and create almost like a pillar from bottom to top.
And that was Facts About Where We Are. This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
When Kasper decided to stay here in Mexico, he started to work at a resort in Puerto Morelos, mostly conducting cavern tours. During this time, Kasper met Toby, a fellow dive instructor with similar interests, like cave diving. And in the second quarter of 2017, the idea came up to join forces and start their own business. And they did, calling it Halocline Divers.
You told me when we spoke the other day that actually it's fresh water on the top and then salt water on the bottom.
Yeah, so
which is something that is completely new to me, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? Why doesn't it get mixed? But I guess it's gravity.
No, it's the difference in densities. Salt water weighs a little bit more than fresh water, so it will always stay at the bottom. The same if you take a glass of water and pour salt in it, then the salt will stay at the bottom, the fresh will stay on top. A little bit the same. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the topography of the area here, everything that is below sea level is salt water, because the cenotes are connected, all of them, to the sea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's due to elevation.
Yeah.
How far you go in the jungle, sometimes you have to go to like 15 meters, 45 feet. Sometimes you have to go to 30 meters, 100 feet before you get into salt water.
Yeah.
Los Ojos today is simply fresh water because we won't get deep enough to see the salt water.
Yeah.
But that level is called the Halocline, which is also the name of my company.
Exactly, and that was my point of talking about that. That exact point where it changes from fresh water to salt water, it's called Halocline.
That's correct. A Halocline, you can compare it a little bit to a mirage effect over like a hot paved road on a warm summer day. Like this blurry effect. That's the Halocline. There's also a temperature change because especially this time of year, the ocean is warmer than the freshwater. The freshwater is 25 degrees, 77 Fahrenheit, and the salt water is a few degrees warmer.
How warm did you say it is?
The freshwater?
Yeah.
25 degrees Celsius.
Okay,
that's 77 Fahrenheit.
That's still pretty comfortable.
Well, we'll be there for a while, so I brought you a long 5mm wetsuit.
Okay.
It's always nice to stay warm and cozy.
Yeah, but we're Vikings, right?
Well, I lived in the tropics for 8 years, so there's not much Viking left in me.
And I've been in warm climate most of the time in those 7 years I've been traveling, so yeah, same for me as well.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Before we get to Dos Ojos Cenotes and our first dive, I have something to ask you. And this is something important. I need you to do something for me that will take you only 5 minutes. Fill out a form where you tell me a bit about yourself and what you like and don't like about this podcast. I know that you might be zoning out right now and might even be thinking of hitting that skip 30 seconds button. Please don't. This is really important. You see, in the beginning of November, I'm going to something called the World Travel Market in London to speak with interesting destinations that will be able to help me give you more interesting content here on the Radio Vagabond. And I need to be able to tell them who is listening to this podcast. Many of you have already filled out the small survey, and thank you so much for doing so. But I need more in order to make it statistically valid. So please go to theradiovagabond.com/whoareyou and fill out the form. And like I said, it only takes 5 minutes.
It's on theradiovagabond.com/whoareyou.
The link is in the episode notes.
So we made it to the two eyes, or
Dos Ojos.
Dos Ojos. And Kasper, it's 3 hours later.
Yeah, there was a traffic accident on the road.
Yeah. And normally, how long does it take to get from Playa del Carmen down to here?
Maximum 1 hour. Today it was 3.
Yeah,
but that's typical. I haven't been in a queue that long the last 7 years, so I don't know if it's your fault, Pelle.
Yeah, it's probably my fault. So we're on a bumpy road inside this area. This is what is this?
This is the Dos Ojos Park. It's like a community, and the money that we pay in entrance fees actually goes to the local Mayan community in here. There's Mayan schools and Mayan villages as well. And there's 7 diveable cenotes in here. There is Sakakchun. That one is for cave diving only. Then there is the pits. Then there's Takbelum. There's Takbeha, Dos Ojos, Dos Palmas, and Niktaha.
Right. I was in here before when I did a road trip with a couple of friends and my daughter, and we got here at 4 o'clock, and they closed the whole thing at 5 o'clock, and they were kind enough not to tell us as we paid the entrance fee to get in here, so we didn't go to any of the cenotes that we're going to today. We just went to the two eyes, which is a little cave pool.
But at least your money went to the local Mayan community.
We can tick that off the box, but I thought it would have been nice if they told us that before.
Of course.
Us handing them in total 1,600 pesos. So yeah.
Well, now it's noon, it's midday, so we have plenty of time to do our safety briefing and the 2 different dives. It's 2 different cavern lines in 2 different directions. One of them is called the Barbie Line. You will know why a little bit later.
Barbie Line?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the movie.
Okay.
It has nothing. It has been there for a decade.
Okay, and the other one is Ken Line?
No, it's not. It's the Batcave Line, because we will surface in a dome with plenty of bats flying around and a beam of light coming down, and you can see the stalactites. And actually you can see the water that still drips from the ceiling, because it takes a long while for the water to penetrate the porous limestone.
Have you ever wondered what the places in this podcast actually look like? I have. So, I started following the Radio Vagabond on Instagram, simply by searching Radio Vagabond.
Dos Ojos is located 50 kilometers, 31 miles south of Playa del Carmen. The name Dos Ojos means 2 eyes, and it comes from 2 circular-shaped cenotes. Dos Ojos, known for its multiple shallow dives, gives divers like us plenty of bottom time to enjoy the beautiful decorated systems. And now it's almost time for our first dive. We get the gear out of the truck and then go to a board with a map and some instructions, and Kasper starts his briefing.
All right, welcome to Dos Ojos. Here you can see the map and the 2 dives. This part here is the open water area, and then both lines starts out in the open water. We'll go underground here, and shortly after, approximately 5 minutes, we will come out in the second eye, and we won't surface here. The line is like very shallow. It's like 1 meter, 3 feet, and from there we will enter the Batcave. As soon as we get into the Batcave, we will surface. There is a few points of light. That's where the bat flies in and out, morning and night, and also the sun comes in, so it creates like a beautiful beam of light. We will see some stalactites here, beautiful formations, and we can see water drops. Even though it's been a while since it's been raining last time, and the water penetrates the limestone very, very slow, gets purified, that's why the water is so clear, and slowly drips from the stalactites. Then we will get back onto the line, and from here it gets really decorated, like stalactites and stalagmites formation. It reminds me of a Roman Empire, like huge columns holding the ceiling.
Okay.
We're gonna be in Caesar's Palace.
That's in Las Vegas.
That's true. Maximum depth 9 meters or 30 feet. Average depth 4.5, 15 feet. It's quite shallow, but it's extremely decorated.
Yeah.
That's the first dive. The second dive is the Barbie Line. It's actually my favorite. It's because you get to feel a little bit more like you're in a cave. you're not. You're in a cavern, but people feel like they're cave diving.
Right.
And it's extremely beautiful, and you will see why it's called the Barbie Line.
Okay. I guess it's pink.
We'll see.
We'll
see.
know.
We'll see. Now the more important stuff, the safety rules. Okay.
And then he goes into all the safety procedures, things that I need to know in order to keep me safe. But since you won't be diving today, I'll spare you for that and instead jump an hour to when we're back from the first dive.
We just came up from the first dive, and wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Batcave Line.
Oh yeah.
How did you like the Batcave?
It was unbelievable. See, I've been here before, and we went into the two eyes, dos ojos, which is basically like a pool. And we got into the first one, and I said, "What are we doing here? Are we just being in this thing? I've been here before." I said, "No, we're going under." So we went into caves. How long? Caverns. Sorry, but it felt like caves.
I understand.
And some points we were very close to the surface, like. My feet would stick out at that point.
We're in shallow water.
What the hell?
True. We were in quite shallow water. That was the first passage, and that's where we actually go from the first eye to the second eye. Mm-hmm. And we followed the line, and then we went into the Batcave, where we surfaced.
Yeah. After a while, you went up, and I thought, okay, are we done now? I noticed that there was some light coming in, like beams into the water, and I thought it was... electronic light, a projector.
Artificial light. Yeah. No. That is from the hole. I mean, that's a beam of sunlight through the hole where the bed is completely natural. It's not man-made.
So we were in the bat cave with hundreds of bats, if not more, and we were the only humans.
Yeah. There was no snorkelers, obviously. There was no swimmers. No divers. We had it all for ourselves. I mean, that's one of the benefits of coming here in September.
Would there be snorkelers and swimmers there?
You can actually snorkel in there with a guide.
How do you get in there?
There is a gap of like 10 meters of air if it hasn't rained too much. Because if it rained a lot, then it might not be possible. But you're not allowed to go in there without a guide. Obviously, it's more fun to dive in there. Yeah. But it's nice to have everything for yourself. As you can see, there's not a lot of other divers because it's low season at the moment.
And that was only halfway, the back cave, and...
and then it started to get very decorated, stalactites and stalagmites out of this wall, right?
Yeah. How long is the line? How many meters?
Oh, that meters is probably... That one is 650, and the next one is a bit longer, like 750 meters, which is only possible because there is so many places where we can surface. It's called diving in the daylight zone, cavern diving. But it feels like a cave, right?
Right. Now snack time.
After the first dive, it's time for lunch and some drinks, so we both stay hydrated, and then we set up the gear for the second dive to the Barbie Line.
We're setting up the second tank for me, but Kasper, you're using the same as you did before, but that's because you have two.
Yeah, I have the redundancy of two tanks, and right now I have like 170 bar left in each. Yeah. That's around 2,400 psi.
Yeah, and the reason you're having two tanks, it's not something I've seen before. It's because of this type of dive.
The cavern guide, needs to dive in full cave equipment.
Not in ocean dives?
No, not at all. This is simply because it's overhead environment, and in case something happens with your equipment, you need to be able to breathe from my long hose.
Yeah. So you got one with a 3-meter hose on it?
It's 1.8 meters or 6 feet.
Okay. All right. So that's down there where are we gonna start the same place we ended?
We're gonna start at the exact same place, just a little bit to the right. There's the Barbie Line, just goes in a complete different direction. Okay. But it's the same place we start. It's the same place we end. Yeah. It's circuits.
Okay. I can't wait to find out why it's the Barbie Line.
We shall see.
On the Barbie Line.
If travel is your passion, and you want escapism while still upholding your work and family responsibilities, you can travel vicariously from the comfort of your own home. This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
As we're exactly halfway through the second dive on the Barbie Line, I finally find out why it's called that. The name is after a Barbie doll that was accidentally dropped into one of the underwater passages during an exploration. Since then, somebody also put a little plastic crocodile biting into Barbie, and they're both tied to a rock at the half-point mark. It became a reference point for divers, and the name stuck.
Kasper, we've had an awesome day in the Cenotes, and I'm kind of beat now. It was truly amazing, and the last dive, how can you describe what that was all about, the Barbie thing?
Okay, so I want to be honest. I mean, the Barbie has been there always.
I thought the name came first and then somebody put that there.
No. Apparently, I mean, I've been here 7 years, and the crocodile eating the Barbie doll has been there all the years I have been here. And I don't know exactly for how many, but it was definitely there when I came. So yeah, someone thought that was funny. And well, everybody's having a little bit of a laugh when they see that. And it also indicates the exact middle of the line. You could see you told me that you hit your turn, which was good, shortly after. So I just continued because we passed the middle of the line.
Yeah, the point of no return.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the last dive, that was a little bit longer, but so much to see. And
I like the formations. I when we do 2 dives, which we always do, or 3, I like to end with the best. I like that one more because there's less snorkelers to see, and you get the feeling of being inside a cave, even though I want to make it clear that it's still a cavern.
Mm-hmm. The Barbie Line is also known for stunning stalactites and stalagmites, as well as its unique lighting conditions. The passages are illuminated by natural light filtering through openings in the cavern ceiling, creating mesmerizing underwater visuals. Diving the Barbie Line is a surreal experience for cavern divers. As mentioned, the water in the Cenotes are exceptionally clear. We're able to navigate through narrow passages and explore the fascinating geological formations that have developed over thousands of years. Diving the Barbie Line with Kasper was a unique opportunity to experience the mesmerizing beauty of the underwater caverns in a pristine and surreal environment.
so, Kasper, tell me a little bit about Halocline Divers. How are you different than other dive companies? You don't have a dive shop somewhere?
We don't have a physical shop front. One of the main differences is that we always pick up our guests at their accommodation in Playa or Tulum, or in reasonable distance. We include entrance fees for these cenotes. Entrance fees can, and this is in dollars, vary from $15 to $40.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, we are the only one that includes that, because those prices can go up and down, and most people don't like to include them because they never know how much they cost. But that's on us. We focus on very, very high maintained, high quality gear. As you noticed today, it was probably the first time you used a first stage regulator with a DIN, that stands for Deutsche Industrienorm. It's a standard in Europe, and it's used for technical diving. It can take a lot more pressure, actually 300 bar or 4,500 psi, and there's less chance of leaks. So we only take those regulators into overhead environments, simply a safety thing. We focus on very small groups, private tours, because both of us, even Toby and I, we worked at busy resorts before, and there was not a lot of safety, and there was no time for the guests. It was more like a factory.
Yeah. With you alone, you can take up to 4 guests.
I can fit 4 people plus myself in my pickup truck, but that's also the limit of people we can bring into overhead environment.
Yeah. What if a big group of 8 comes and say they want to do a dive? Do you send them somewhere else, or do you get somebody to help you?
I have someone who can help, someone who can freelance. Also, I have minivan contacts. So in case it's a group more than I can fit in the car, I mean, I have a driver. He's also a cave diver, so he's also a guide. So, I mean, we had a group of 15 Danish people in January. And so everything is possible.
Yeah.
As we come to the end of this episode, I'd like to say thank you to Kasper for inviting me and giving me this unique experience. And once again, remind you to take 5 minutes out of your busy day and fill out the survey. Simply go to theRadioVagabond.com/who are you.
Kasper, thank you so much for taking the time and showing me your office.
Thank you so much for tagging along, and the pleasure's mine.
Thank you.
My name is Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya!
Radio Vagabond. Produced by RadioGuru.co.uk.